All right, you guys, it's 9:05. What is up? Today I kind of had to shift things over. Instead of having call on Wednesday night, we're having it on Thursday because there was a Dynasty Surge yesterday that I'm still super duper looking forward to listening to myself. But I prepared kind of like a mini training for our team call today. I thought it was a good way to kind of kick things off. New season, new goals, whatever. But first, definitely wanted to keep you guys in the loop. I'm going to be gone at Summit next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Nashville. And I will be sure to bring back tons of information and tips and notes and whatever I can get for you guys. But in the meantime, definitely keep an eye out like in your online office and in the announcements, because I know they usually stream at least some of the keynotes, if not some of the training sessions as well. And it's like last year, the weather was terrible because it was super hot, and it's going to be super hot again this year. But I just know that I got a lot out of it, and it's just amazing being surrounded by so many people who are so much like you. So I'm really looking forward to it, and definitely plan on sharing everything, with you guys. So that being said, let me cut right to it here, and I will get to my screen to show you this. So let's turn it actually into a presentation for those of us who know how to use the interweb. Views present. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today was kind of just a short list or tips or thoughts of things that I put together over probably the last 6 to 9 months, since basically everything with my job changed last fall, and then I ended up losing my job this spring. I kind of wanted to just take the things that I had learned and turn them into something that hopefully will help somebody else. So you guys were the first people I thought of to share this with. So this shouldn't take long, but it's just kind of like my top five lessons learned from when I kind of decided like that I wanted to work my Beachbody business again. And I say that loosely because I never like quit, but I definitely, put it to the wayside or put it to the back burner. And I can now see a different path that I could have taken. So I wanted to share that with you guys and hopefully also kind of inspire you and motivate you a little bit if you're in a similar position. So starting over, top 5 lessons learned. So what do I mean by starting over? All of us are in a different position. Like I said, mine resulted from changes with my job, but it could be an emotional situation or just how you're feeling, being discouraged or frustrated or angry that causes you to, either take a break or quit. It could be feeling like you have too many constraints on your time, which is something we'll cover more later. Maybe you feel you have a lack of support, not enough from me or from your spouse or your family, or whomever. That's definitely another reason why you may find yourself starting over. Another big reason I know for me is kind of losing sight of your goal or your vision, and knowing where you're headed and why you're doing this. And if you lose sight of that, or don't stay focused on that, it's really easy to lose your momentum. And then starting over might be something that you didn't ever envision doing because you didn't know where you could start or if you could even restart after quote unquote stopping working your business. So that's kind of what I think would lead most of us to being in a position where we feel like we are starting over in our business. And I think that kind of covers the whole gamut. So I wanted to share that. So the first lesson learned that I figured out is basically the act of failing doesn't make you a failure. And I know that from a personal perspective, whenever I fail at something, I automatically believe that I am a failure rather than I failed at an activity or a goal or whatever. So I kind of wanted to share that in the sense that, failing at something, like I said, is a behavior. It's an action. It's a mistake. It's not a characteristic of who you are, of your personality or lack of anything. And then on that same note, comparison is your worst enemy when it comes to feeling like a failure or like you're failing. If you're looking at what everybody is doing from your left to your right, front, back, behind you, every direction or any direction, you're going to lose sight of where you're going. And I learned that very quickly. Like there's quite a few coaches on Shannon's team that started at the same time I did, or very close to the same time, and we're all over the map as far as, who's at what rank versus, time in their business, money they're making, whatever. And I very quickly found myself drowning in that. So don't make that mistake. And this is something, like I said, huge hurdle for myself, is learning how to change your thinking and how you speak to yourself is really challenging, because it's easier, I should say, to, make these bubbly, positive, life is awesome Facebook posts, but then inside you're feeling like you don't really feel that way. And then it becomes less authentic, and less you. So you really need to kind of harness that, and personal development is the best way that I've learned how to do it. Learning how to talk to yourself in a way that's not defaulting to the worst circumstance or to the negatives. That's something, like I said, I'm still working on, but it's made a huge difference. And lastly, a lot of people have said to me, this just isn't for me, this isn't my thing, yada, yada. Well, if you find yourself saying that or something similar to yourself, I strongly encourage you to do what I call it's like a root cause analysis, basically. And we use it in business process redesign for my job. But if you write that down on a piece of paper, this just isn't for me, and then ask yourself the question, why? Answer it. And then take that answer and ask yourself why. And do that until you've gone through it 3 times. And then you'll probably, odds are, land on why you're feeling like it isn't really for you. And 9 times out of 10, maybe even 10 times, I'm willing to bet, you'll discover that it has nothing to do with you being a failure or something that's wrong with the business or yourself. And quickly you'll find a solution, hopefully. So my second tip is honesty attracts, perfection repels. What I mean by that is, we all have these situations. We screwed up our eating or workouts, and we don't want to share it because we're embarrassed, and people will be like, well, geez, why should I trust her if she doesn't even have it together? Or you missed the mark on something, you wanted to lose 10 pounds and you lost 7 or something. And, you didn't want to tell everybody that you didn't reach that. Same with not reaching your goal, maybe a business goal or a fitness goal. The idea that, hit my desk, that you aren't a success story yet. May that be you don't have a good before and after. A lot of people say that, well, I don't really have a transition to show or transformation to show. Who cares? Or I'm not really a success story yet. Yeah, but is your Shakeology paid for every month? Okay, then that is a success. That is something that you didn't have last month. And it's taken me a while, like I said, to learn to be honest about those things, not just hey, I was in $100,000 worth of debt. Now I don't have any because I'm a Beachbody coach. If that's not your life, then that's not what you should share. So, just because you don't feel like you're a success story yet doesn't mean that you need to pretend to be something you're not without celebrating the victories along the way. Next, you had questions you didn't ask. You were scared, skeptical, or basically hiding behind something else. And that really drives down again to how we talk to ourselves, your mindset, and being willing to put pieces of your story, your life, yourself out there, knowing full well how vulnerable it makes you. People will attract to that in droves, and it's never proven incorrect. So, even if you are not perfect, and, which none of us are, by the way, and you make mistakes, share your struggles, from a perspective of, this is what I went through, but this is how I overcame it. And very quickly you'll find a lot of people will be very interested in what you're doing. Number 3, don't overcomplicate it. So if you're getting restarted in your business and you're like, crap, I don't know where to start, I feel so overwhelmed, I don't even know what's changed or what's going on, don't allow yourself to fall into that trap. So it's the 4 vital behaviors for a reason, because we changed it. There's recognition is now the 4th vital behavior, but it's not 15. So don't overcomplicate it. Don't blow these things, super out of proportion. Do your workout, drink your shake, share it with other people, get to know them, talk to them, do PD every day, and recognize successes or victories and challengers or your other coaches or in your own life. And that's all it really basically comes down to those 4 things. So don't overcomplicate it for yourself. And, in that same vein, stick to what you know. This is what you've already been doing. So just go right back to doing what you already know. Use your fears to your advantage. And what I mean by that is if you're concerned that people are going to notice that, hey, you talked about, working out and being healthy all the time, and all of a sudden you fall off and now you're talking about it again. Well, don't be scared of that. Instead, turn that into an opportunity to share why you decided to take a break, and what brought you back to it. I mean, they can't be any more honest than that. And in that sense, like I said, you're using your fears to your advantage. Keep your eyes on your own paper for a while. What I mean is, I know that for me personally, like if I feel like I want to get remotivated or inspired in my business, I feel like I need to go out and do a case study of what every other top coach has been doing while I was sitting on my butt, not doing enough. And that, again, I think because we're all very similar in personality, just overcomplicates and overwhelms you. And if you already had something that was working for you before, just do that again. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just because you're starting over doesn't mean you have to completely change how you were running your business previously. And lastly, shift your focus. What I meant by that was, shift your focus from, oh man, I'm so bummed that I, didn't do this for the last few months, or I don't have any coaches, or, I don't even know where to start with my own workouts, or this, that, or the other. Just as hard as it is, push those thoughts and those negative conceptions out of your mind, and shift your focus to basically, I'm resilient enough to dive back into this, and where do I start? Tell me what to do. Put me in the game, coach. And you, again, use it to your advantage. My fourth lesson learned: when no one is watching. So basically, when nobody is watching is what makes the difference between, I think, people who succeed or fail, not only with Beachbody, but with this, business model in general, with network marketing and how it all works. And what I mean by that is, you can say you're doing your workout, and you can say you're having your Shakeology, and you can say you're feeling better, or that you've made more friends, that you've paid down debt. But if that's really not what's going on behind closed doors, and you're kind of stretching the truth a little bit too far to try to engage other people, those things add up, and they definitely deter from your credibility. And I understand the desire to enhance your credibility with those things, but you know how you feel about yourself. And if you're, talking, oh my God, my dog's barking, talking one way and living another way, or walking another way, then it's very difficult to connect with people on a real level, because you're not being real with yourself. So in that same vein, if you make a mistake, or even you made a conscious choice to stop doing something or do something that you shouldn't do, admit it publicly and move on. And I say publicly for a reason, because again, that's what's going to connect you to people who are just like you, who are like, dang, it would be so much easier right now to just say that my nutrition was on point, or I did this, or I did my workout when I didn't. But instead, you just put it out there, and here's where I'm at, and here's where I'm headed, and move on. The next thing, don't ask others to do what you aren't willing to do yourself. Perfect example. If you're not working out every day, if you're not drinking Shakeology every day, and then you turn around and are asking your challengers if they're doing the same, that eventually that's going to crumble from underneath you. Like I said, it's when no one is watching is what makes the difference. And then, like I said with other things, developing this skill takes time. It's a discipline that I don't think anybody is 100% fail-proof at. But that's why everybody says, oh, it's a lifestyle change. Well, yeah, it is a lifestyle change when you're able to not only engage in, but almost habitually perform behaviors like this, because you've been doing it for so long. That's all you know. And then the last thing, when no one else is watching, keep going. And what I mean by that is, when it seems to be you against the world, or you lose your job, or you have a family member who's ill, money gets tight, whatever, as simple as it sounds, and it may sound self-serving, but I really do mean it. Keep going. Because, one day, for every day you miss, you're potentially losing out on momentum and, a person who you could help. So, like I said, when no one is watching, even if you screw up, even if you don't admit that you screwed up, keep going. So my last kind of lesson learned tip, number 5, is focus on what you really can control. And I hope you guys like that little quote there. But this is something I'm still working on in my own life. But as a person who's, dealt with anxiety for almost as long as I can remember, the amount of things, if you will, that I have actual control over in my life is very minimal. And it's taken me a long time to realize this, and that trying to will against that is never going to work. And what I mean by attitude and actions is, your attitude determines your actions. These are things we already know. And technically vice versa. But nonetheless, when you look at what you really can control and, involve that into your attitude, your perspective of your daily life, your viewpoint, your perspective on different situations will change. And similarly, your actions will change as a result of that. For lack of a better example, like I said, when I lost my job in March and it was not planned at all, and I really didn't know what my next move was or where I was headed, I kind of just went back to what I knew, which was working out and drinking my Shakeology and talking to people. That's really all I knew. Like, it might sound cliche, but that's really what I knew I could control, because I had, in my sphere of influence, I had the time to do what I was doing. I'm sorry, my husband just interrupted me for Pokemon Go. Time out, time in. So along with that, like I said, what you really can control, whatever it takes to stay on track, you should do. And, of course, not at the expense of yourself. But if there's some things you have to cut out of your life, or things you just literally have to block out, you should do it. Because even if it has nothing to do with your business, on a personal level, your life will be a lot less stressful when you realize there's a lot of things that you just really can't control. And then think about, who do you want to be in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years? Not where do you want to be. I mean, where do you want to be is important, but who do you want to be in that moment? Do you want to be a person who said, hey, I really wanted to quit, but I buckled down and I got my shit together and I started again and I rocked this, and I've, reached my goals, and I've changed my life and other people's lives and taught other people how to change other people's lives. Or do you, the time's going to pass either way, you guys. So either you use the time to become a better person or to push towards your goals, to help other people push towards their goals, or the time goes by and you just stay where you are. And that's completely your choice. That is one of the things that is 100% within your control. So like I said, pay attention to the who instead of the what, because that will really help you solidify why you want to restart this, why you want to be into it in the first place. So now what? We take those 5 lessons learned and all the components that come with it. If you're like me, you need kind of a practical, sometimes step-by-step plan to digest things like this. So what I would suggest is the first thing you should do is revisit your why. Your why meaning that visceral, emotional reason why coaching came into your life, why it was something that sparked your interest, why it was something that kept your interest, and why you're going back to it now. And like I said, it really should be something that does have some serious emotion tied to it, because we all like to say, oh, well, I just really want to help people, or, this worked for me and I want to share it with others. Well, yeah, that's part of it, but deep down, why does this really matter to you? And once you've reconnected with that on some level, look at your goals, your short-term and your long-term goals, your business goals, your personal goals, your fitness goals, whatever. Revisit them with that why in the forefront of your mind and update them accordingly. Then take a look, audit your day. Look at the time in your day that's hidden or lost that you could otherwise be using towards, doing the 4 vital behaviors or building your business. For example, when I got a new job in June, I now commute almost an hour each way every day. So that gives me almost 2 hours in the car 3 days a week, completely uninterrupted, to listen to as much PD as I want, or as much training as I want on YouTube or in a training group and catching up. Okay. So that's finding those minutes. And some days, do I feel like listening to PD? No. So I'll listen to a couple songs and then I'll listen to PD, but it's helping, and like I said earlier, go public with it. Share why you took a break or you quit or you stopped and why you're restarting. Remember, honesty is what attracts people. Perfectionism is what repels them. So if you're honest about it, I guarantee you will get engagement. Again, dig deep into personal development, not just that next book or the cool thing that you hear everybody talking about. dig into personal development that's actually relevant to you. If you're lacking in motivation, read something or listen to something that helps increase your motivation. If you're just completely disorganized and discombobulated, focus on something that helps you develop your organization skills and your time management. That's what personal development should be doing. It shouldn't just be like business oriented, even though that helps sometimes, or, love yourself, huggy, whatever. It should be, your personal development should be changing and evolving and adapting to where you are in your journey in your life, so that it's continually helping you grow and get outside of your comfort zone. And lastly, focus each day on what you can do to help other people. And I say this wholeheartedly, if you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, here's what I'm doing for this day, and part of those first few thoughts are, what can I do to help more people? Or what can I do to help these people who have already invested their time or their energy or their money into something that has to do with me? What can I do to help them? What can I do to help them get closer to their goals and to seeing the results that they so deserve? If you come at your life from that perspective, and I know it's not easy, 100% know it's not easy, but if you begin to incorporate how can you be of service to others in the first thoughts that you have every day, it will very quickly take over your thinking and will shift you from being a person who is egocentric, because we all are in some sense, to somebody who truly, genuinely cares about other people and wants to see them live healthier, more fulfilling, successful, awesome lives. And that's really what it comes down to. So that's kind of my little presentation for you guys. And let me switch this back up here. I don't want to share my screen. No, stop sharing. Let's close this. Oh, okay. So anyways, I hope this was of some help to you guys. I hope that you listened to it, took notes, and don't make this any harder on you than it needs to be. This is just my experience and what I've been through, some of the things that I've learned along the way the last few months. So I wanted to make sure I shared them all with all of you. But take it in consideration. Let's talk. Let's cheer each other on. And no matter what we're facing, just know that we're not alone. And that's what matters the most, because nobody wants to feel alone. So I love you guys. I really do. I appreciate your time, and don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions, concerns, or other topics that you'd like me to maybe research or put together something for, a future call or training. And I hope you have an awesome night. Talk to you later. Bye.